Hello, reading colleagues. I wanted to go through a resource that we use in the school district of Beloit that I feel is a very powerful resource, and that is Lexia PowerUp for Tier 2 interventions. And our target group for the Tier 2 interventions are students that are reading, as far as their reading performance, as measured by the MAP reading assessment, that fall at the 15th percentile and below would be our targets for the Lexia PowerUp Tier 2 intervention program. What is Lexia PowerUp? Lexia PowerUp is adaptive blended learning. The adaptive blended learning model includes teacher-led instruction, independent student-driven learning, and ongoing data for progress monitoring. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because I know I'll be covering this in some of the other slides, but it's really it's age appropriate for 6th through 12th grade. And it starts them off with a diagnostic assessment called the auto placer that measures the strands that are similar to the MAP strands within reading. So I'll get into that. So here it is, the auto placer. So the auto placer measures 3 different strands. So word study, about 5 to 10 minutes. It's an auto placement consisting of reading and spelling of non-words. So really pretty much measuring decoding with the reading, but also encoding with the spelling. 5 to 10 minutes of grammar. This auto placement asks students to identify nouns, verbs, and other parts of speech. And then comprehension, really reading for meaning. So 15 to 45 minutes looking back into the text for those comprehension questions related to analyzing the text, interpreting the text. So students have described it to me as like almost a video game, and it's really self-paced. It's leveled based on their performance. And then based on how they do on this auto placer, Lexia will assign activities related to word study, grammar, and comprehension at their instructional level as determined by the auto placer. So I think that also makes it engaging, as it's always teaching kind of slightly above their instructional level in an age-appropriate kind of a video game type format. Self-paced and leveled based on their instructional levels. Do students have to take the auto placer in one sitting? They can complete the auto placer over 1 or more classes. Keep the following in mind when planning. Students can complete the comprehension placement activity over multiple sittings. If students log out in the middle of the comprehension placement activity, their progress is saved. The next time they log in, they'll start this activity from where they left off. Students need to complete each of the word study and grammar placement activities in one sitting. Since these 2 activities are short, student progress is not saved until the activity is completed. If students log out in the middle of either of these activities, they will need to start from the beginning of that activity the next time that they log in. So that kind of paces it out, giving them more time for the comprehension, which is, of course, requires a higher level of cognition, and therefore they do have more time for that. How is Lexia PowerUp organized? Well, it's organized into strands: word study, grammar, and comprehension. And it's all aligned, so the auto placer tests those three strands, and then that would then align with the activities that the students are assigned based on their instructional level in each strand. Zones of skill development within each strand. There's foundational, intermediate, and advanced. Levels, skills grouped by levels increase with complexity in each zone. So it is self-paced, leveled activities that are sequenced based on student performance. So every student gets their own individualized program based on how they are performing. Activities in each level support instruction of specific skills, and units, exercises, and tasks in each activity focus on specific skills. Here's an example of the student dashboard. So when the student pulls up their Lexia PowerUp dashboard, they'll see the three strands: word study, grammar, and comprehension. And they'll see how many minutes out of their goal minutes they are at. So as far as their progress per strand, and it just gives them, it's kind of a little formative check-in of how much they have to go in order to achieve their minutes in each strand. Before I discuss the best practices for Lexia implementation, I think it's important to know that although this is like a gamified Tier 2 intervention with fun activities for the students, it still is important to also take it seriously, because it is going to allow for not only determining the student's instructional level in word study, grammar, and comprehension, but also to provide individualized activities so that are assigned at their instructional level, so that they can grow and have growth in each of those, targeted growth in each of those three strands. So best practices for implementing Lexia: students understand why they are using PowerUp. So explain to them, the results of their diagnostic assessment in each of the three strands, and how this will allow them to grow in their word study, grammar, and reading comprehension. Students meet their personalized usage goal in the program each week. So that was that previous slide. So here's the kind of usage goals and students being able to track their progress. And as they track their progress, we also need to express our interest in this as well, and right along their side as a facilitator, as a coach, and that we are rooting for them in also making progress and supporting. Educators visit My Lexia weekly to review class and student data and utilize the data to make instructional decisions. So that's back to the data per student, the growth data and performance data per student per strand, as far as word study, grammar, and comprehension per student. Educators reinforce online learning and provide targeted instruction using Lexia's instructional resources. So if those students are experiencing frustration, and not progressing through the program, then we have those PDFs for the one-to-one explicit instruction in decoding, encoding, and comprehension. Educators celebrate and communicate the student progress. So not only the minutes, because I know we talked about the minutes here, but also the performance. And so that leads into, why are these formative check-ins and this formative feedback? Why is that important? Formative assessments, I'll quote here, Youngstown State University editors. Formative assessments in literacy learning, formative assessments in literacy learning drive school-wide development and help students apply literacy skills in cross-curricular contexts and deepen learning. So this is the skills they develop in this course, or in the Lexia program, are going to assist them in increasing their performance school-wide. And again, kind of the cadence of the three components of the cadence of Lexia in this Tier 2 intervention: teacher-led instruction, independent student-driven learning, and ongoing data to monitor progress, which then informs teacher-led instruction and therefore informs the independent student-driven learning, and then therefore, so it is a cycle as we monitor data and use that data to inform our instruction. And here's my reference page